Hey guys, welcome back here to the Fishing Teacher, and appreciate you guys swinging by the channel for the episode today. And guys, I want to talk today about braided line and fluorocarbon line on bait casters specifically. Got braided line right here, got straight fluorocarbon here. I want to talk about some situations where you want to use one or the other here. I see a lot of people making mistakes as far as using one of these when they should or should not be using it, when they need to be using the other one. So I'm going to give you guys some sort of my opinion on it, my personal experience with the two. Definitely think it's going to help you guys catch more fish and land more fish. And also, guys, we'll be talking about the lines that I use, which is the Seaguar and VizX and the Smackdown braided line. I'll have both of these in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video. If you guys would like to get a spool of each one of those, awesome freaking line. And also, real quick, guys, you may have heard me talking about it, but we do have my new Blaukat Throwback football head jig back in stock at Tackle Warehouse. This has been, we released it about 3 weeks ago. This is my hand-tied living rubber football head jig, guys. Quality second to none. Made by Cumberland Pro Lures. I helped design it. I'll have this in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of the video too, if you guys would like to get you a few of my football head jigs. Really good bait for summertime fishing. Okay, guys, braid the fluorocarbon. Let's have a little conversation about the two when you want to use it, sort of from my standpoint with it. I'll throw in a little mention about monofilament line too. Now, out of the percentage of the time that I use the three lines, braided line, fluorocarbon, and mono, I use fluorocarbon line probably, I'm going to guess, over 90% of the time. 90% of my fishing or more is done with straight fluorocarbon, that Seaguar and VizX. I'm going to say about 5% of my fishing is done with straight braid, and then 5% of it's done with mono. Now, mono, there's two situations I use it. Number one is obviously on top waters. Monofilament does not sink as quick as fluorocarbon. You don't want to use fluorocarbon line on any type of top water that sets still in the water like that, because it will sink the nose of that top water down and it'll tend to torpedo on you. Monofilament is a lot higher floating, so that's going to help you out with that. And then sometimes I will use monofilament on square bill crankbait fishing. If I'm fishing, making short casts, like around lay down trees or something in dirty water, I like the monofilament line because it has more stretch in it and it takes the impact of that strike from a short distance. If you get a bite from 10 foot away with fluorocarbon or braid, there's not much stretch there and you tend to lose the fish more. Now, fluorocarbon is going to be the workhorse for most all the fishing I do. Literally every technique that I use in bass fishing, except for the top waters and two other techniques which are relegated to braid, is with fluorocarbon. Most of my crankbait fishing is with fluorocarbon line, with the exception of that mono I just talked about. All of my basic slow baits are with fluorocarbon line, you know, except for, well, let me get into the braided line because it might be a little bit easier here. The only time that I use braided line is two situations. Number one is throwing like a frog over matted vegetation, or flipping thick matted vegetation, like thick matted cabbage, thick matted hydrilla and milfoil, that type of stuff. Okay, that's the only two times I use it. The other times with fluorocarbon handles everything else. All my spinnerbait fishing, all of my pitching and flipping, except for what I just talked about there. All my casting baits, as far as like football head jigs, Carolina rigs, you know, wobble head jigs, you know, all of my jerk bait fishing, everything, swim bait fishing, glide bait fishing, all that type of stuff is with fluorocarbon because of the properties that fluorocarbon has. Fluorocarbon is clear. It's got a little bit of stretch. It doesn't have as much stretch as mono. It's small diameter. It's a superior line for most fishing techniques, but you have to know when to use what. So for most people, you could get by with fluorocarbon line and monofilament line, you know, all the time with it. Most situations, most people don't have to use braid because really, in essence, the only time, if you just boil it down to the basic level, if you don't fish a lake that has grass in it, if your lake does not have grass, there's really no need to ever throw braided line at all. Now, some people like it for certain baits like a buzz bait or whopper plopper, but I prefer to fish both of those on fluorocarbon. I do want a little bit of stretch. I see a lot of people throwing braided line when they shouldn't throw it. I see it with a lot of my co-anglers in tournaments. They'll throw braided line like on a Texas rig worm. I've seen them pitch and flip with braided line on sparse cover, like flipping to lay down logs or flipping next to a dock piling or something. You don't need it, guys. Braided line is very visible to the fish. Even something like the Seaguar, the low visibility stealth gray line, it's still a solid color line. It's more visible to the fish. So from that standpoint, braided line will not help you get any more bites. It'll do nothing but take away bites from you, but it will help you land fish if you have to have it in really thick cover. There are some situations where you simply can't get fish out unless you've got braided line on. If you make a long cast, like with a frog back in some thick lily pads, and that fish hits you 100 foot out there or something, if you don't have braided line, guys, your odds of getting that fish in are very slim. And the same with flipping like a 1 ounce weight in matted vegetation. And then again, some top waters, I will use fluorocarbon as well. If I'm throwing a top water that I reel across the surface, again, like a buzzer or a whopper plopper, there's probably some other ones out there, like maybe something that doesn't sink down much. I'll still use it, but for the most part, you want to use mono with that. So, guys, that's just a general overview of it. I just wanted to address that because I've had some questions about people when they shouldn't use it. So that's sort of the go-to list for me. So I hope you guys are well.